Hi, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Today with Mr. Jordan Gamble, soon to be professional MMA fighter after a long standoff. How are you, bro?
Yeah, good, mate. Doing well, Toby. Doing well.
Man, it seems like you possibly were abducted by aliens or something, because when I look at your records, there was a big gap between 2019 and now. Even Instagram had a big gap. I'm wondering, were you actually abducted, or was there something else going on?
Mate, it's just I had a bit of a whirlwind few years, between COVID and injury. I think 2020, obviously COVID happened and that pretty much shut everything down for about a year. And then coming out of the first lockdown, first COVID lockdown, I ended up doing my ACL. And that cost me another 12 months. And then it's taken me another 10 months to get the weight back down and back into the regime, and we're back ready for the cage.
And then you just went, fuck it, I'm out of the amateurs now. Let's go to the big leagues, hitting the pro ranks. What made you make that decision, bro?
It was a decision between me and my trainer. I let him deal a lot with my fights and that, and I trust his opinion. He felt I was ready to make the move to the pros, and I was happy with his decision with that. And now here we are, a few days away from the pro debut.
Fair enough. Let's have a quick chat about that then. So we've got your big fight coming up, pro debut, XFC, fighting Viktor Lyall on October 22nd, man. How are you shaping up and how are you feeling about the fight?
Mate, I'm feeling really good about the fight. I'm feeling really confident. I've had a lot of time to get ready for this. I'm definitely in the best shape of my life. I'm just ready to get in there and perform. Yeah, ready to get in there, put on a show for the crowd, and hopefully have a fun night.
Good. I saw Viktor. I had a chat with Viktor, but I saw him the other day. He's posting pictures of himself with a sword. He's the Impaler, a bit of a special guy. How you feel about him as an opponent, man?
Look, I haven't had a chance to meet Viktor yet. He seems like a decent guy. I think as a fighter, I've seen a few of his fights now. He's very crafty, brings a lot of intensity, all-around tough guy. Seems like he's going to be there for the long run, but we'll find out on the night. But yeah, seems like a decent opponent, and I'm happy to be matched up against him, that's for sure.
Man, watching some of your older fights, you seem to like keeping that distance, like keeping the leg distance, and also a bit of wrestling in tight, man. Would it be correct to say that you might look at employing that a bit to keep, because obviously Viktor's pretty strong on the inside, and he's like, I'm guessing he's a little bit shorter than you by the look. Is that something you're going to employ, you think?
Well, I'm definitely going to try and use my reach advantage if there is one. I haven't actually seen him yet, so I don't know what kind of advantage I've got over him. But I'm definitely, I'm just going to go in there, stick to what I'm good at, and obviously come out with the win. Viktor's definitely a tricky opponent on the feet. Seen a few of his fights, so he's going to be no slouch. So I'm definitely going to have to be on my toes. But feel pretty confident with what my skill set, that I'm going to overcome whatever he can bring.
Hey, did you watch the footage of Viktor when he was out in the street with those couple of eshays and he head kicked one and slapped another? And
Mate, I think it's a bit strange if you haven't seen it at this point in the community.
That's true.
I saw that obviously way before we got matched up, and then we were obviously looking for a fight to get back in, and we got given Viktor Lyall, and I'm like, that sounds familiar. Typed it in the Google search, and up comes the video, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm fighting this guy. So I was like, I thought, what a small world,
That's it, man. It shows you the difference between your average Joe and someone who trains MMA seriously, amateur, professional level fighter, And it was actually something I was talking to a friend about today. I was saying, I'm going back to Australia for a visit soon, and I was just saying I want to train with a couple of guys. I'm thinking, I haven't trained with any pros for like a good 10 years, and a pro 10 years ago is not the same as a pro now. So I'm expecting just to get absolutely destroyed,
Oh man, I'm sure you'll do fine. If you haven't stopped training, I'm sure you're going to be all right.
Yeah, that's it, bro. So I saw you in one of your posts back from 2020 that you'd achieved your brown belt then. Are you still a brown belt? Are you working towards your black belt in BJJ?
Yeah, I'm still working towards my black belt. I'm in no rush. When it comes, it comes. I've been doing jiu-jitsu now about, I'd say, close to 9 years. So seen a lot, I train with a lot of good guys. The best thing about jiu-jitsu is you're always constantly working on your game. So it's something that I'm always working on, something that's always there on the side, and will probably always be there on the side even after I'm done competing.
That's it.
So yeah.
And man, do you train in the gi during your MMA training, or you train no gi?
I pretty much train exclusively no gi. I have for the last about 4 or 5 years. The old saying, I got told this by an old wrestler. It's like, when are you gonna fight someone in their pajamas on the street? And I was like, it's a good point, mate. So ever since about purple belt onwards, I've just been training exclusively no gi.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think when you put it relative to MMA, it's much more relative. But I think when you talk about like street or security work or whatever, clothes aren't that bad to use, so you can use clothes to an extent
Yeah,
as long as it's not a
yeah.
thin t-shirt or a singlet or something, you can you can use it. Yeah, man.
So when I was doing door work, because Sydney gets so hot and like so cold in the winter, everyone would just be wearing t-shirts and a singlet, usually at the places where I was working. So you didn't really have that option to use clothes at all.
That's it, man. Hey, I'm just asking you a question. Why do you fight, man? Like what is in you that makes you want to be a professional fighter?
Man, I guess it's wanting to test myself. I've been doing martial arts since I was a kid, and obviously you always want to know where your level's at. So fighting's always been something where you can go and test that. Not just to test yourself physically, but mentally. It's just one of those. It's just a sport that it takes everything to succeed, and you're constantly being tested physically, mentally, spiritually. You know, to really succeed in the sport, you really have to be willing to sacrifice as well. So to me, it's just I would like to say I'm a martial artist first, then a fighter. For me, it's always just about testing myself and seeing the seeing myself progress further and further with my skills.
That's it, man. I saw you in those couple of fights that I watched, that range. I was looking at that thinking that smells a little bit of like a taekwondo or a karate background from the range. What did you start out in?
I actually started out in kickboxing
Kickboxing.
as a kid,
Yep.
but my old man is used to train back in the day, back in the old school taekwondo, and a few of my early trainers were taekwondo based, so a lot of their skills translated to me. But predominantly, I just trained Muay Thai and kickboxing growing up, and then once I started training MMA, I realized that I wasn't able to put a lot of power in the kicks because it'd be open to a takedown. So I actually had to get quicker with my legs. So I guess it's a bit of an evolution in my game from when I first started MMA, that my kicking style is now like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point, man. Do you have an arsenal of any of those taekwondo kicks as well as, because most people know the the Muay Thai kicks, the standard stand around kick, teep, etc. But some of the other kicks are catching people these days, right? Do you have any of those in your repertoire?
I'd say so. I've never really had a chance to sort of pull them out. Never really needed to, I suppose. But yeah, I definitely got a few kicks up my sleeve. Nothing too, no 720 back kicks or nothing like that. But I can pull off a wheel kick, roundhouse, and a few
Yeah.
other little tricks. But yeah, nothing too special. Apart from those.
Nice. Actually, you watch Victor, the way he kicked the guy in the street, and I think I saw something of him chambering and kicking. He's got an unusual kicking style. It is a martial arts base. It's not the Muay Thai style that most of us are kind of used to these days. So it's something to look out for because he chambers that leg pretty good, and he's got pretty good flexibility as well, right?
Yeah. He's a very explosive fighter from what I've seen. Very very flexible for his size, it looks like. So definitely going to have to be on guard for whatever he brings.
True, man. Hey, so you're training out of Lions Den Academy. One of your training partners, as we discussed earlier, is Michael Stanoff, who just had a great win on the Beatdown show. Can you tell us a little bit about your gym? Like, what's good about your gym that keeps you there and keeps you training?
Um, well, we're just it's a bit of an old school gym. You know, we got old school mentality in there. Not too old school, of course, but you know, it's a gym based on hard work, good work ethic, and good fundamentals. Um, it's a small team that we've got, but the team that we do have, mate, is just full of killers. Like these kids are just constantly just chopping at the bit, ready to go, always fighting, always down for a fight. And the intensity is just nurtured by Luke Bazzuti, my head trainer, and he's really been able to spread his knowledge, his very vast knowledge of martial arts and MMA to all the boys in the gym. And just the culture of the gym at the moment is just, you know, it's electric. You can just feel it. There's just a gym full of killers. You know, you're not going to have an easy night any night at the den. You know, you're always going to be definitely scratching your head thinking, what could I have done better? What could I have done there? It's just one of those old school, put your head down, get to work kind of gyms. And just the culture in there is just something else at the moment.
That's good, man. It sounds like a good place to train. The CKB lads always talk about that you come in, you can never have too big an ego because you've got to be on your game, because even the amateur guys, you know, will have a good day and take you out, you know, so you always have to be ready.
Yeah, mate. The amateur scene now is just unbelievable, especially like some of the amateur fighters we've got at the gym are just, you know, on another level. Like realistically, could be pros now, but obviously just um, experience level, you just want to build them up and get their confidence going. But mate, it's just the amateur scene now is just pretty much pro level. I'd say the only difference being is the round times.
Yeah, true. Round times, and some organizations use shin pads or restrict the elbows and that. But yeah, you see the skill level is absolutely amazing, man. Like I've been away from Australia for a while. There was next to nothing there, you know, before, and you come back and there's all these real high level shows and amateurs. It's great. It's great stuff. Man, when you said the old school before, the first thing popped into my head was back in Cabramatta PCYC training boxing there, and this old trainer, gnarly old dude, used to run with the boys as well. And you come back and train, and I remember him saying, "No one's drinking in class, no water, and you can't drink till 2 hours after class, and it should be milk." I'm thinking, where does that science come from? I never heard of that in my life, even back then. But yeah, no one could drink in the class, and you're allowed to drink 2 hours after, and it has to be milk. Interesting old school training there.
Yeah, mate. Oh, definitely not that old school.
That's it, man. And I always ask people, just because I'm interested, you know, there's so many different things people do now, like away from the old school into the new school in a way, all the extra, what people call 1%ers and that, be it rest and recovery, strength and conditioning, rest and like sleeping and obviously diet and nutrition. What sort of things do you do in your gym or yourself in those areas?
Biggest thing for me is I've got a strength and conditioning coach on as well, Shy Speed and Strength coach Peter Upham, and he's really, in terms of just keeping my body 100%, has really helped me over the years. Also incorporated for this fight a nutritionist, which has just done absolutely wonders. And you know, being able to go to bed with a full stomach is something different in a training camp. You know, it allows you to push a little bit harder and do that extra little bit of work, and you know, get up early and do those runs that you don't want to do. It just makes such a difference. So with the strength and conditioning and the nutrition down pat, it's really just brought my game to another level. Just being able to train more, train harder, and just being able to last longer as well with my endurance and that.
So on the nutrition side, who are you using for that?
I'm using Precision Athletica, a nutritionist there by the name of Atlanta. I've been working with her since the beginning of the year, and we've had a pretty good working relationship so far.
Is it possible to just describe a little bit like what you would go through in a normal, like pretty heavy day, like what sort of meals you'd have and what sort of times and stuff, just out of interest?
Yeah, so like I'd probably eat about 4 to 5 times a day. Not all big meals. So I'd probably start off with like overnight oats in the morning. Have a Greek yogurt around mid-morning, something like that, something small. Lunch would be, just some chicken, some easy to digest carbohydrates, with a salad to help with some roughage. And then you could have another sort of snack in between lunch and dinner just before training. And then obviously a similar sort of dinner to your lunch. And that's roughly what I've been sticking to to get to weight for this camp. And mate, I haven't felt any hunger, any real like cravings or anything like that. Usually by now I'm like a bit of a crackhead itching for a sugar fix or something like that. But it's done really well for me at the moment with that diet, and being able to train 2-3 times a day and still feel fueled and ready to go has been exceptional.
Yeah, man. I actually just got a diet recently, like a tailor-made one from the Fight Dietitians team. And it's similar in a way. Like what you're saying is the same, although they go into specifics a bit, obviously, about what you should have and everything. I think just your general person, let alone someone who trains a lot like you, I think it's important to look at these things and try and eat healthily and a lot of unprocessed food and that, right? Because it can make a real difference to your day, whether you train at a professional level or whether you're just a normal person. I think paying attention to the diet and just eating well, it's going to make your life better, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Like you'll have a Big Mac before training and see how you go, and compared to a couple apples and a banana, mate, a couple apples and a banana, you're ready to run through walls. Compared to a
That's
Big
it,
Mac.
man. True. And for your strength and conditioning, man, like how many sessions do you normally do a week, and what do they kind of generally consist of? Do they change as you're going through like non-fight? You haven't been fighting lately, but as it peaks up to now, what are you sort of doing? What sort of things are you doing?
Just in terms of strength and conditioning, I'll probably try and hit the gym about 2 to 3 times a week. I usually drop that down for camp down to about twice a week. And a lot of it previously would just be outside of camp is normally just, building muscle, working on new skills and injury management. And as we get closer to the fight, it becomes more cardio based, short explosive movements. The weight you're lifting drops down into higher reps, lower weight. Yeah, it's pretty much roughly what the program's been now, just leading up to the fight.
Is that like functional sort of fighting type movements, or you're just using lifting, like Olympic lifts, or what sort of thing you do?
Not we don't really get into Olympic lifts. He does have my coach does it. He actually works with a lot of Olympic lifters, but primarily just for MMA. Like you're not going to be able to need to throw someone over the top of your head. So
Come on, man, that'd be awesome.
It would be. But we usually just stick to basic compound lifts, short circuit stuff, and a lot of similar exercises that you'd see for knees over toes, constantly building weak areas in my body. Like for me, it was my knees for a little while, and if something else pops up, then we start working skills to build that area up, and whatever really the life throws at you, that's when we'll sort of adjust and go and work a new program for that and incorporate it.
Yep, sounds good. So you said you did your ACL, right?
Yeah.
So how did that happen? What was that with?
I think it was a few things. I went into a grappling competition and got heel hooked, where it got stretched a little bit. I ended up taking a little break from that, but I came back a bit too soon. And just in a scramble and wrestling practice, one day I just heard a big sort of pop that made I thought my entire knee was gone. But ended up getting up, feeling no pain. I'm like, I can go back to training, should be right. Still had a little bit of knee pain. Went back, thought I'd rested another month or so. Went back to training, did some light sparring. Unfortunately, turned and moved the wrong way and felt it just completely tear. And that was a bit of a well-known experience for me. I've had it happen once before with my PCL, so I was pretty sure I did some massive damage to it. And then found out it was a complete actual tear of the ACL, which I was a bit shocked at because I had no pain in the knee at all, and I was still rolling. I was still training, but not training hard. Obviously, being aware that potentially had a injury in the knee, but yeah, and then went into surgery as soon as we found out, and spent the next 12 months just rehabbing it and getting it back to 100%.
Sounds good, man. So what would you recommend, man, for people, like as far as knee care and, making sure you don't have injuries and that? What would you say would have been a better way to do it, to handle it?
To not having injuries like an ACL. Well, for me, I'd say just don't fight and don't train competitively, because unfortunately you got people trying to do that to you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
In terms of keeping up your maintenance, having a strength and conditioning coach, working the strength of your ligaments, staying on top of your diet so your body's fueled correctly, so you're not worn out and not prone to injuries. And just working on weird movements, a lot of lifting, a lot of body weight movements, that type of thing. I'll use them again. Knees over toe guys sort of exercises really work for me. And just constantly looking for new knowledge and how to just keep your body and knees and ligaments healthy.
Yeah, man. Actually, just in my class this morning, BJJ class I went to, they do it what's that exercise when you're on your knees and you go backwards and forwards, just like from your knee position? You got a partner to hold you.
Nordic curls.
Yeah, Nordic curls. Yeah, they always throw that in. So my professor likes this stuff. Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I don't mind doing a bit of knee strength and that anyway. So it's good.
Yeah. Well, considering you want to try and get as much use out of them as you can throughout the years, it's always good to do a bit of upkeep.
That's it, man. I usually ask a lot of the pros and people that have been training a long time, because you guys are aware of your body, aware of what it takes to be a high level athlete. What would your tips be for a general sort of person to maintain motivation and get to the gym or whatever else they want to
do? Just to stay motivated, I guess. Just the people around you will keep you motivated, hopefully. So obviously having a positive team around you to keep yourself involved and always trying to keep things fresh. If you're getting a little bit stuck on something, a little bit frustrated, just take a little break and focus on something else. It's tough to stay motivated year round. So I always think like a little break here and there is good not only for the body, but good for the mind as well. Just to take a week off here and there and get stuck right back into it. Yeah, the motivation is always tough to keep, especially if you're not haven't got a goal. So I'd say just always look to the people next to you. They're usually your biggest motivator. If you started with someone, you always look at him and go, "Oh, I'm a really competitive person. So if I started with someone, I'd always be sort of a bit competitive with him secretly, like in a secret competition. So I'd always be measuring myself to the person next to me. And then if I started getting better than him, it'd be the next person up and onwards. And from there, that's how I keep myself motivated."
Yeah, sounds good, man. And any tips for like general true health, man? It could be, just for general people. I mean, could be psychological, physical, whatever. Any tips from you?
Just keep it simple. Like you don't have to be walking around 6-pack abs all year round. I think just maintaining a healthy diet and training relatively regularly. Doesn't have to be, for a world championship or anything, just something you enjoy. I think a lot of people just get caught up in the look of their body and instead of the feeling they have. Just simple stuff, not overindulging, indulge here and there, but not too much. And, if you are going to train, find something you actually really enjoy doing, not just go to the gym for the sake of going to the gym.
Sounds good, man. So the last question, just what are your future aspirations, man? Obviously, you're about to step into the pro ranks. What do you see as the future that you'd like to have in the fighting arts?
I'd obviously like to get signed to a major promotion, whether that be UFC, ONE FC, or Bellator. That for me is the main goal at the moment. Actually, the main goal at the moment is getting through Viktor on Saturday night. But then after that, it would be centered around trying to get picked up by a major promotion, and being able to do this full time would be an absolute gift, I'd say, to keep myself, going in the game. So getting signed by a major promoter would definitely help that.
Awesome, man. So before we end up, any prediction for your fight on the weekend on the 22nd?
No real prediction, mate. Just at the end of it, having my hand raised.
Sounds good, man. Hope it comes your way. Thanks very much for your time, bro. Good to meet you, and yeah, look forward to chatting with you and some of your gym mates like Michael in the future. And yeah, best of luck with it.
Thanks for having me on, Toby. It was a real good conversation. Appreciate it, mate.